Hui Ka-yan is one of the most important figures in business in China. But his company, Evergrande, is facing a huge crisis that may lead to the collapse of the real estate market in China. This crisis is predicted to be similar to the collapse that happened in the United States between 2007 and 2008. This man is extremely ambitious and founded the Evergrande Real Estate Group in 1996 in Guangzhou in southern China because the real estate market in China was growing rapidly, especially in manufacturing centers such as Guangzhou. China's real estate market has been called the most important sector of the world economy. Valued at about $55 trillion, it is now twice the size of its U.S. equivalent and 4 times larger than China's GDP. Taking into account construction and other property-related goods and services, annual housing activity accounts for about 29% of China's GDP, far above the 10% to 20% typical of most developed nations. But it could all come crumbling down because this company decided to expand aggressively and taking out loans worth $300 billion, but now the company is unable to pay. So why is the company unable to pay this debt it has accumulated? And how could this be the beginning of the end of the real estate boom in China that has been the center of global investors for the past few decades? In today's video, we explore how China's second-largest real estate company's debt crisis might have a domino effect in the country's entire financial system and the world at large. And why does this affect companies such as BlackRock, which is the largest asset manager in the world? Welcome to another project. We make essay videos on interesting topics in the world of business, marketing, and innovation. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to get updates every time we upload. First of all, we need to understand how urbanized China is compared to the rest of the world. If I could ask you how many cities there are in China, you would probably think there are 10 or 20, or even 50 if you're feeling generous. But that is not even close to the truth. China now has an estimated 700 cities and 100 of those with a population of 1 million or more. The modern Chinese city has never been as densely populated as it is today. And because China's population continues to grow, so do its cities. China's cities are growing so fast, they are literally running out of land. Every 3 years, it adds a new city the size of London or New York. Greed has led Chinese officials to build half-finished ghost towns with no one living there. An estimated 65 million homes, 20% of the total supply, in China are unoccupied. Not only is this high by international standards, it means there are enough empty houses in China to house the entire population of France. Even though you might know of Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen, there are other metropolises that are multifaceted social and economic centers that resemble what we understand generally as a city such as Hangzhou, Linyi, and Harbin, which are larger and more populated than New York. Homeownership rates in the country are also high. More than 90% of households in China are homeowners. And that is where Evergrande comes in. Founded in 1996, during a period of mass urbanization in China, the company went on to become one of China's biggest companies, even being ranked 122nd on the Fortune Global 500. Evergrande's rise to the top. The company is not in the business of real estate alone. It even owns one of the country's biggest football teams, Guangzhou FC. Its businesses range from wealth management, making electric cars, food and drink manufacturing. Evergrande owns 2 major theme park brands. It operates Evergrande Health Valley, a health and wellness park, and retirement community, a music festival tour concert operated in over 30 cities. It also acquired a 45% stake in electric vehicle company Faraday Future for $2 billion through its Evergrande Health subsidiary. Mr. Hui was once Asia's richest person and, despite seeing his wealth plummet in recent months, has a personal fortune of more than $10 billion. Under Hui, Evergrande was raking in hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue a year when it went public in 2009 on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. By 2020, Evergrande was hauling in $76 billion a year in revenue and $18 billion in gross profit and had expanded its real estate empire to 280 cities. For its annual report. It currently has around 200,000 full-time employees, and according to its website, claims to have generated approximately 3.8 million jobs in China. Then things start to crumble. In an effort to rein in the highly indebted sector, the Chinese government enacted 3 red lines rule to regulate the leverage taken on by property developers, limiting their borrowing based on their performance in debt-to-cash, debt-to-equity, and debt-to-assets metrics. In simpler terms, developers will be categorized based on how many limits they breach, and their debt growth will be capped accordingly. If a firm passes all three, it can increase its debt a maximum of 15% in the next year. What did this mean for Evergrande? The company wanted to expand aggressively because, remember, China builds cities the size of New York every 3 years. So, the new regulations greatly affected the property developer, which had historically leveraged itself heavily. Leverage refers to the use of debt, borrowed funds, to amplify returns from an investment or project. Companies use leverage to finance their assets. Instead of issuing stock to raise capital, companies can use debt to invest in business operations in an attempt to increase shareholder value, and Evergrande was listed as one of the 5 most highly leveraged companies in the world. Having multiplied eightfold, it had also become the world's most indebted property group. The company started borrowing more, racking up $300 billion worth of liabilities from 2014 to 2020 alone, according to company reports. The new measures led Evergrande to offer its properties at major discounts to ensure money was coming in to keep the business afloat. This quickly affected its stock. Evergrande's share price tumbled by around 80% this year. Its bonds have also been downgraded by global credit ratings agencies. As it plunged in value, the impact on global markets and a significant slowdown in foreign investment in China became significant between August to October of 2021. A British company, Ashmore Group, owned more than $400 million at the end of June, while UBS Group, a Swiss multinational international bank, owned over $300 million. Even the world's largest asset manager, with over $9 trillion in assets, had a total exposure of $400 million across all its funds, with one of its high-yield funds having acquired additional $18 million worth of bonds in August. So it's safe to say, if the real estate market in China collapses, the rest of the world will definitely feel the heat. Well, Beijing's aim to rein in corporate debt, which means that such a high-profile bailout could be seen as setting a bad example. The priority for the Chinese government in managing defaults or bankruptcies is to ensure social stability and negotiate a deal with creditors. So what's next for China and Evergrande? Well, we'll have to wait, as the disaster continues to unravel. Make sure to like and subscribe, because we plan on keeping you updated. That's all we have today. Let us know in the comments, you think the government should bail out the company? Also, is it shocking to find out China is building cities at such a fast pace? Here is a playlist on the business of real estate, just in case you'd like to binge watch. Until next time.